I know. Sorry. I never know where to cut it off, so we're gonna just stop it. Stop it.
Stop it. All right. Well, welcome to episode 9 of the Joyful Solopreneur with the Mary Gaul and me, Kathy Basel. This is your go-to podcast for solopreneurs who are seeking to infuse more joy back into their businesses. Each episode is brimming with actionable advice and heartfelt insights, empowering you to shape your business on your terms. From honing your message to playful profit planning, prepare to engage in a supportive community that advocates for joy, creativity, and successful entrepreneurship. Let's dive into this episode. It's the first of our pop-up podcast season, episode 9. Miss Mary, what are we talking about today?
Woohoo! Today on episode 9, we are going to be talking about Onward with Joy, planning what comes next. So, I'm all about taking an idea and making an action plan out of it. So love this topic, but you may have heard this phrase where you can become self-educated or shelf-educated, right? So we buy a lot of books and webinars and things like that and kind of put them on the shelf and never really do anything with them. So Kathy and I hope that you as listeners are getting ideas and the little tidbits of things that you can actually take action on. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is how do we take everything that we've talked about in episode 1 through 8 and really help you implement that or take that and put it into an action plan that you can implement in your business to make a difference and make you a more joyful solopreneur.
Yeah, it's all about implementation. It doesn't do any good. And that's if you could just take one or two of the gems over the course of this entire season of podcasts that we've shared and really just deep with a couple of those things to move your business forward, gaining the momentum, but being clear on who you are. How's that coming? How are you growing? Are you becoming more of that thought leader? Are you closer to becoming that $1 million CEO version of you that is able to create a business that where you're working on it, you've got that team around you supporting you, driving that vision further and giving you the time to enjoy the journey, right? Isn't that what it's ultimately all about? But thinking of finances too. How are you doing? And checking in with that regularly. This post, it's all too easy to kind of say, oh, I'm going to do this, make that $10,000 a month income, and it not happen year after year after year. And that's where we want to stop and help you. Like, where's that shortcoming? What do we need to fill in that gap so that you're beginning to make those numbers click for you?
Yes, yes. And tying it all back to joy, right? What brings us joy in our business? How do we show up as our authentic selves so that we are more joyful? We're in the state of flow more often. We're not doing things that are draining us of energy. So we want to make sure we're looking at those things too. So we're going to jump right in and talk about future goals. So we've touched on this in many of the episodes. If you've listened to all the episodes, we've talked about goal setting and the importance of having goals so that you know where you're going and setting both short-term and long-term goals, right? We talked in episode 8 about the 12-week year or the 90-day year, right? Where you can set a shorter sprint for your goals, right? Where you're breaking it down to what are the 1 or 2 things that are really going to move the needle in the next 90 days towards your annual goals, right? And then I think it's really important to have a 3 to 5 year goal as well. And those can be bigger, but if you know what you're working towards or where you want to go with your business, right, that brings us more joy as we get closer to those things that we envision for our business, right? So that's another way to keep that joy going is checking in on where am I going in the next 3 to 5 years? What's the joyful business that I want to have? What does that look like as a revenue, as my time, as the things it affords me to go and experience in my life, right? So what are those bigger goals? And then breaking those down into the annual goals. And then, I love the 12-week sprint kind of what are the things I'm going to move on?
To me, I think that kind of connects the dots because it's easy to kind of set that amorphous, oh yeah, I want to be at $1 million in 3 years kind of a thing. But it's like when you begin to connect that to the plan and understand how your offerings fit into that and how many staff or how many programs or how many get that numbers in that
Mhm.
plan, it becomes real. Like
Yeah.
this is an actionable that you can really wrap your arms around. And there's that part of me that resists the longer term planning, like a 5-year goal. But I think at the same time, it's so important. A lot can happen in between now and then,
Right.
like good stuff too. Like, what if a partner came on or you got an investor or something
Mhm.
beyond? So on the one hand, I do encourage people to vision big. But I
Right.
like to almost do it. We can do it from an internal visualization kind of a thing too,
Right.
of who are you? Who are you called to become? What is the highest level of service look like? How are you bringing your best, juiciest gifts to the world and making the biggest impact? And like, wouldn't that be the ultimate fruit for our businesses, is to be making the impact and the income that we deserve?
Yeah. And like I said, the experiences, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years, right? So it isn't all about, I'm going to achieve X by this date, right? Which I think those are important, but having that bigger vision, like what is the point of me getting out of bed today if I don't have a bigger vision to tie it to, right? I could just be going in and punching a clock if I don't have any reason to continue to grow my business, right? And so whatever that thing is that lights a flame under you, what do you want that flame to look like in 5 years, right? And so there could be some revenue aspects, but it could be the impact, it could be the experiences you get to have, the people that you get to meet, the conversations you're having, right? So it could be all kinds of other things other than just a number. So we want to make sure we keep that in mind. And Kathy and I were talking about before we jumped on to this episode was with entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, we get stuck in the goals, strategies, and tactics kind of mindset. And then we get overwhelmed and then we just drop everything and just kind of go into this, I'm in the rut. I'm doing the same thing every day, not really growing outside of my
Working on the endless task list that
yeah.
never gets completed.
Yeah, yes. And it always keeps getting added to and added to, right? So
Yeah.
when you look at setting a goal, that's something concrete. We all know the SMART measure, SMART, specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, and time driven. I think that's what they stand for. Might be off on some of those, but pretty much that's it, right? So you have your SMART goal, and then underneath that, so let's say your goal is to um, let's say your goal is to get just my goal. What's the goal? Let's say your goal is to
Fine.
get $10,000 a month, right, in revenue. And so you need to have 50 clients to meet that number. I don't know, I'm just pulling numbers out here. So you need to have 50 clients a month. So how are you going to get those 50 clients a month? You're going to have, those are the strategies that you're going to build underneath that goal. So to get to that revenue goal, I need to sell 50 of these things per month. And to do that, I need to, make sure I'm on social media. That's one strategy. Under that strategy, there's a bunch of tactics, right? Like post every day, post, on these platforms, engage with my people on those platforms and reach out and, maybe do some ads. Those are all the tactics underneath that one strategy under that goal. Then your other goal might be, reaching out to your past clients. So, or doing some advertising or something like that. So that could be another strategy. And then you've got tactics under that. Where are you going to advertise? What's your budget? All of those kind of things, right? So sometimes people set the tactic as the goal. And then when they get there, they're like, well, what did that do for me, right? It's not tied to anything. And you're not looking at the main goal is to get to this revenue number, right? So, and then sometimes people can look at the list of tactics and say, oh my gosh, that's so much work. I'm not going to do it. We get overwhelmed. And so then we just put it off. But that's really how you have to look at breaking down these goals. So what is my measurable, actionable, relatable, realistic goal on a timeline? And then what are the strategies I'm going to have to get to that goal? It could be one or two or three or four, who knows? Keep it as simple as better. And then what are the tactics under each one of those strategies? So when you can map it out like that, the tactics, which ones can I delegate? Which ones can I have my VA do? What can I have my bookkeeper do? What can I have a marketing team do for me, right? So that's where you could start to outsource some of those things so it's not so overwhelming. And you can stay up here in the goal and the strategy planning section, and then start to outsource some of those tactics
Yeah.
or
Getting towards that $1 million
system.
CEO role that we were talking about in that last episode, episode 8. Good one. Go back and watch that one if you missed it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. So first thing is, when you're, moving onwards with joy, is what are you moving towards? What do you want to create with your business, right? What kind of joy, what kind of impact, what kind of revenue, what kind of experiences, what kind of freedom, right? So what do you want to build? And then stop and put some goals around that, and then put your action plan together from that. So I always say a goal without a plan is a wish, and a plan without action is
a dream.
A dream? Is that it? A plan without action is so yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's the other way around. A goal without a plan is a wish, is a dream, and a plan without action is a wish, or something like that. Something like that. There's a Maryism for you. Yeah. But we do have to have all three of those pieces, right? The goal, the action plan, and then implementation. Okay, so here's one piece that often gets left behind for entrepreneurs because we're so busy focusing on those goals and the strategies to achieve those goals and the tactics. And so sometimes we forget about ourselves as business owners. And what's our goal? We forget to set a goal around our own personal growth.
Yeah, precisely.
So how are we as entrepreneurs continuing to grow and learn new things, right? So how do you work that into your goals, or just the way you run your business and thinking about what comes next in your business?
Yeah. And we kind of touched on that of working on your business, not in your business, but part of that, like you said, what does it look like for you, that next step to become the thought leader that you are, to become that expert in your industry, or to innovate something, maybe entirely something new. But I think it's so important for us to schedule in that time. We both do retreats, like unplug from the day-to-day tactic kind of to-dos, the busyness in the business, and really get clear on the vision moving forward. Who do you have to be in that next year in order to elevate your business to that next level? And it's so important, both in our own level of, so almost like a self-identity. Who do you know yourself to be now? Because they say the level of thinking that got you to this point won't get you to the next point. So what do you have to believe about yourself, know about yourself? What are the day-to-day behaviors and habits and actions that you've got to be involved in on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to lead your company to that next level? But it really takes that time, intentionally, non-negotiable, to unplug. I like to take entire days, or I'll lead retreats to unplug and get clear on that vision. Going back to our episode 1, when we were talking about the passion, the vision, your gifts, your core values, kind of look back. How have you done this past year and this past 6 months and quarter? How is that? And how can you bring more joy,
Yeah.
more levity, more team, more progress into all of those things? And recognizing, again, we talked about the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your income likely is coming from 20% of your efforts. So how can we continually refine to focus in closer and closer into that 20% of the things? Because it's so easy to get caught up in those non-income producing activities. Some of them, many of them are essential. And we just want to make sure, how do we elevate the level that we're spending in that quadrant that is the important income producing quadrant?
Right. And then also the CEO time, right? So how are you going to grow yourself as a business owner each year? So last year I created a 3 E's goal for myself, right? 3 E's with ease, EASE. And it was educate, explore, and expand. So I made a spreadsheet for the year. It's like my education. I had 3 goals that I wanted, new things I wanted to learn in the year, right? Whether that was just taking a course, whether that was getting certified in something new, but it was 3 things I was curious about. I knew I could add it into what I was doing and then see if I wanted to, learn more. But I wanted to be at least learn more to take my education to the next level. So I did those 3 things last year, right? So because I had that as a goal, here's how I want to grow myself as a human being and an entrepreneur, and then expand, right? So what were my goals for expansion? Did I want to add new services? Did I want to reach out to a new target market? Did I want to, use a new tool? Those kind of things, right? And then explore. So that was really like, how am I exploring in my business and in my personal life? So whether it was, I'm going to go to a new restaurant, I'm going to learn a new recipe once. I love to cook. So learning a new recipe at least once or twice a month, trying new cookbooks, those kind of things, right? So how do I explore and expand? And because I had those as goals and was tracking those, what gets measured gets managed. So I knew I just did it once a month. I would go in and update my spreadsheet. What have I explored in the last month? What have I expanded my openness to? And what education have I gotten, right? And so by tracking that, I was able to look at the end of the year and go, wow, I really learned a lot. And as entrepreneurs, we are learning so much all the time, but it just we learn it and then we just assume that we always knew it and we don't give ourselves credit for learning the new thing, right? And so when you track that, when you have it as part of a goal, a CEO goal, like for personal development, how am I going to grow myself? And what does that look like, right? So I encourage everyone that's listening to put those pick one thing, right? Pick, how am I going to expand my mind in the rest of this year, right? Whether that's
But I
having a
like how you said that it's not always
conversation.
necessarily tied to like some kind of skill. This might be you
Mhm,
taking that journey to Machu Picchu to,
mhm.
rediscover or deepen your own personal passion, or discover, take that yoga retreat so that you can create that spaciousness in your
Mhm.
head to receive more guidance and input from intuition. It might look like something completely different.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
I
took
like
a self-hypnosis class because I've always been interested in that. And, I don't necessarily use that in my business, but I can use it on myself, right? I know more about how the brain works and how we can, tap into the power of our brain and those kind of things, right? So just what do you want to do as the CEO? Because I think sometimes we get so stuck in the tactical things that we forget that we want to grow as business owners and as human beings too, right? So what are those personal and professional growth ideas that you want to go and learn from? Maybe you want to take a retreat with a mentor that you've been following for a while, right? Or you want to take the next step with them in their coaching program or whatever that looks like. Write some of those things down and then make them happen, right? Implement them, take action. Um, Okay, so we talked about setting some goals, including your personal development goals, right? That's how we make our plan for what comes next. And then really maintaining that joy and passion in our business. So Kathy, knowing everything we've talked about in the first 8 episodes, how do you encourage people to take that and really build it into what comes next in their business?
Yeah, I like how you said that what we track kind of give yourself
Yeah.
some type of trigger of when you're going to go back and give yourself an hour to reflect on some of this stuff and involve who are the people around you that help get you to there. Can you involve your team somehow? Can you involve your clients somehow? Is there some type of celebration you want to have, whether it's individually with them, a year of their service with you, or is there a party that you want to throw because you've been in business for 5 years or you've hit a milestone? But just to regularly include into your cadence some type of reflection with that intention of joyfulness and growth and expansion, and allow yourself to play in that space. um,
Yeah. Yes. So Kathy and I, we met, had this idea kind of over tacos and palomas, and had this idea to start this podcast. And now we've planned the party at the end after we finish episode 9 drops. We're going to go back to that same little place and have tacos and palomas. And so we're like, do we want to invite some people to celebrate with us, right? A few of our closer supporters, those kind of things. So, we built in the celebration to celebrate the fact that we got it done and we did it, right? So how can we build in those joyful things? It's the summertime now. So one of my joyful things is being able to get out on the water and have conversations with entrepreneurs. So kicking off season 9 of On the Water Networking. So if you're in Colorado and you hear this during summer, reach out and we can come out and join us on the water. But I absolutely love that. And I'm so looking forward to Friday when you can go out on the water with some entrepreneurs, have some great conversations, get some sunshine, and then still be back at our desk by 1:00 if we wanted to have conversations or work on our business some more. But we've taken that time to be joyful, to make connections, to build that community, to talk about our businesses. Who knows what resources and connections come from those, just being together in a different setting. That's joy filled, right? Everybody that comes out loves the water. They love to be out there on the water too. So find that thing that makes you happy and then invite other people to come and do it with you. And that just builds in more joy to your business and helps you build, that sense of community that we all need, a connection, especially as solopreneurs. We need that connection to other business owners. We really do need it.
Yeah. I like you came back to the core values, community and connection. Like, what are your core values? How are you allowing yourself to be triggered even on a daily basis? So we mentioned in one of the episodes, I use an app called Optimize Me. And essentially you set down an intention of who you want to be in 3 aspects of your life. One is love, one is friends and family, and the other is your internal character. So in your business, sorry, there's the 3. So how do you want to show up? And you put not just the aspects to it, but the daily actions that you're committed to taking so that you be that person every day. And over the week, you're constantly growing towards a bigger version of that. So I love that as a morning plug-in and a trigger and a reminder of the self-identity that I'm already standing in, the thought leader that I am, the divine feminine, business lady, and the ultra present friend and lover kind of person. So who is it that you're being? What is your trigger? Like you said, I love your 3 E's, measuring yourself and having something to strive for. I think that's what brings meaning into life, is to have a goal that's meaningful to us. And it doesn't matter how quickly you're making progress towards it, but that you hold that precious and sacred, and that you're making advancements to that's when that spark happens for life. I think when we get caught up in that daily rigmarole is when we kind of get sucked dry. We get caught up in the to-dos, but they're not connected to something that's meaningful, that is moving us forward. So when you feel that coming on, hit that pause button and take the time, or get the outside stimulation, whether it's a workshop or a conversation with a mentor or whatever that is, to reflect on what's going on right now for you and what more is seeking to express through you next.
Yes. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I think the maintaining part is just how can you build in those little touch points to joy, to what brings you joy and connection back to your business, to your passion. Okay, so now we're going to do a quick just recap of what we've covered in these first 8 or 9 sessions, right? Which is really powerful. So we're just going to go back through and reread all of the episodes. You can go, by the time you're hearing episode 9, they'll all be live. As we mentioned on episode 8, we're going to throw in a bonus on some time management tools that we both love and use. So we'll share those with you as a bonus content coming soon. But when we go back to what we've covered in this pop-up podcast season, right? So episode 1 was the joyful beginning, May 1st. So we really tied that into what brings us joy, going back to why did we start our business? What's our purpose? what's the purpose of our business, identifying our pinnacle gifts, right? What are the values that we want to embody in our business? And really starting from the beginning. And if you've been in business for a while, tapping into what brought you joy in the beginning, why you started your business in the first place.
It's true of any relationship of any kind, isn't it? Whether your
Mhm.
marriage, your business, like even just who you are as a person. Yeah. Why did you
Yes.
make this choice from the beginning? There was an initial pull and a spark that happened. So reconnect with that. Episode 2, we were talking about messaging mastery. So, what are you selling? What are you called to serve? How do you do this? And the most important piece is why. What is the change you want to see in the world? What's that problem that you alone like are uniquely qualified to solve for other people? And chances are it's because of some of the bumps and bruises you've had in your own life. How did each of those serve as a catalyst driving you towards this choice? And how do we reflect that then in messaging that's going to speak from your heart to the heart of those you're called to serve? So selling, connecting is really a heart to heart kind of conversation, and really remembering to be authentic and honest and vulnerable with ourselves, with others, so that we can connect through joy from our heart to theirs.
Yes, yes. In episode 3, recapping foundations and fun with finances, right? So this was one of my favorite ones because we get to talk about all of the things that are bringing in money in our business, right? And how money flows through us as entrepreneurs and flows through our businesses. And I think sometimes as solopreneurs or as creatives in business, we can sometimes avoid the money con concepts, right? Because it can
Yes,
be
I
scary
can.
or we don't feel like we know what we're doing or those kind of things. But there's some simple systems. So we talked about the profit first system. We talked about pricing and how to price your packages and how to deliver the pricing of your packages when you're talking to your clients. How to just understand some of the basic profit and loss um, concepts, right? And where those numbers come from. And paying yourself first as a business owner. So go back and listen to episode 3. It's not as scary as you think. We try and make it finances fun. And so that you really do, as a CEO of your business, as a solopreneur, you need to know what's happening with the money in your business, how it's flowing through you. And money is just energy, right? So you can use it to grow yourself, and then you pass that around to your contractors, and money flows through your business, and allows us to support each other and support other people too. So, taking a look at what is money doing in your business, but also for your business and for your community.
I heard Bob Proctor once get up on stage and he says, I love money. I do great things with my money. It's
Yeah.
like, so tune into that episode and help flip your switch on that conversation that you might have resistance around, that looking at that finances. So
Mhm.
then we dove into episode 4, which was all about community and connection. So building a network through relationships. It's the quickest way. If everybody, there used to be the adage, like we each know 250 people. Now it's much more than that. So how can you, by connection, by sharing your message through others and building your network in that way, how can you get your message out to the right people that are meant to serve you? So we talked in terms of like networking groups and how do you build relationships? How do you find the right groups so that you can expand, make that ripple effect? So it's finding the right people, and how do you know which are the right ones? There's different types of groups to support you in different ways. So sometimes it might be a mastermind group to support your vision and your accountability towards reaching your goals, but it might be a networking group to put yourself in front of potential new clients or speaking opportunities, other ways of getting the message out. And then how to really deepen those relationships, the follow up, the fortune is in that follow up. So how do we do that in a way that's so authentic? And then collaborations like Mary and I are doing right now, the referral partnerships, that is the most efficient way. If one person can refer you, or you've got clients who've come through who've had a great experience with you, that's such a valuable way to explode your exposure to new folks.
Yes. We love that one, right? Because we're both really into building community and connections between in our businesses and in our world. So, episode 5 was getting eyes on our business. Really, how do we get more visibility? So we talked about different ways to build the visibility in our business through social media, through blogs, through videos, your marketing efforts. Kathy talks about omnipresence without burning out, right? How do you show up everywhere without burning yourself out? So there's some great tips in that episode. Go back and listen to that. Um, how do you create something fun that you can be known for? That, like my on the water networking, right? So we talked about that. We talked about how ChatGPT prompts can help you with some of this marketing, some of these ways that we can get out in front of more people. There are tools now that can make it easier for us to do that, so we don't have to get burned out. We're not just staring at a blank piece of paper going, what am I going to talk to my audience about today, right? So really, how do we build that visibility for ourselves? And then that led us right into, now that we've got
Oh boy.
people to talk to,
The hot topic of sales and tactics for authenticity and growth. I mean, ultimately, the sales conversation is that natural outgrowth from the connection and the community that you built. So, how do you create authenticity in sales, talking to the right people, developing those relationships? What does that conversation look like? That it's not, I think sometimes we get preconceived notion on what sales is, but highly recommend that you plug back into that one, because we help you flip the switch on what sales can actually be, which is actually, you know, that adage about being of service, but really, how do you connect in a heart to heart way of really leaving that person that you're connecting with at that moment in a better place than when you began? So whether you are that solution or you are of service to them in some way, the sales conversation can just be natural and flowing and a contribution to everyone you meet.
Yes. And then episode 7, we talked about exceeding expectations, how to deliver a wow customer experience, and then create those raving fans that make sales easier for us, because we're getting referrals from other people that have worked with us and who, are great referral partners for us. So then those conversations become easier. So what does it look like to have a wow factor in your business, right? Go back and listen to that and figure out what that means for yours, how to exceed your customers' expectations, and that you can transform your relationships with your customers. What's memorable service look like in your business? How do you build that community of raving fans and tap into them for, referrals and for testimonials and, to help just grow your business? And then how do you leverage those positive experiences for your referral partners, right? So as you're growing your referral partners, how do you take care of those people, right? So go back and listen to episode 7, exceeding expectations, delivering wow experiences, and creating raving fans.
It just makes me feel joyful hearing you talk about that, Mary.
Yeah.
And then I like the episode 8 too. We talked about the path to prosperity and becoming your own CEO. So this is that mindset shift of really allowing yourself to work on your business, not in your business. So if you are the $1 million CEO of your business, what kind of decisions would you be making? How much free time are you allowing yourself to have? What does your team look like? And, how do you build a team around you, both the ones who are working for you or it takes a village sometimes. So how do we create the ideal support for what you need in order to have that vision, have a big vision, and be able to continually make progress towards your big goals through hard times and good? And then what does that ideal team look like as you start hitting those financial milestones that you're setting for yourself?
Yes, love that episode. And then we wrapped up with episode 9, which is this one, right? So how are you taking all of this information that we've given you in these episodes and moving forward? How are you going to take this information, put it into an actionable goal, both, tactical, revenue goals, those kind of things, client goals, but then also build in the personal development goals. How do you want to show up as a human being, right? What brings you joy? Let's build some goals around joy. And how do you maintain that joy and passion throughout your business, right? Throughout the days when you're stuck in the weeds, or, things are not going as well as you planned. How do you build the joy in there so that it's maintained throughout the years of running your business? So that is our episode. So again,
Yeah.
Kathy and I just want to take a few moments and tell you a little bit more about what we do and how you might be able to work with us if you choose to, if that's of interest to you. So Kathy, I'll let you go first and tell our audience a little bit about what it's like to work with you, what kind of things you offer them.
Yeah. So what I do is help you to get clear on who you are, your unique message in the world. So I work lots with the coaches, healers, and change makers of the world that have a message on their heart that maybe aren't able to articulate it clearly, but I help them to really streamline your marketing messaging so that you can leverage AI, and I use primarily ChatGPT, but to automate your marketing messaging by up to 80% so that you're continually getting your message out to the people you're uniquely meant to serve in a way that's effective, that's allowing them, you're connecting, but you're also converting them into clients. We all need more soulmate clients, and I want you to work with those that bring you joy, that light you up, that you do your best work with. And I also have backup to help you implement with a team of VAs so you don't have to go it alone. And my background, this is what I do so well, is to be able to build that team for you and with you. So if you're ready to start leveraging your time to give yourself that more CEO time, this is ideal for you.
Okay, and there's a dog going crazy on my street, so hopefully you can't hear that yelping. But I'm Mary Gaul, owner of Success Magnified, and so I get to work with solopreneurs a lot, which I love, the Joyful Solopreneur, right? But I work with solopreneurs to really help them get those ideas out of their head and into an action plan. So every time we talk about action plans, I love that because that's what I do naturally, right? Those are one of my gifts. So being able to help you prioritize where you want, get clarity about where you want to go, and then prioritize the steps that it's going to take to get there and provide that joyful accountability. So we always start with wins and celebrations, what's going right in your business, and then what do we need to keep working on to keep moving you forward. And we can do pretty much any area of a business plan. So whether that's your marketing, so I'm not going to do as deep dive as Kathy does with the marketing and the implementation of your plan, but I can help you kind of do the outline of what you think is going to resonate with you as a person. And then, we can look at your finances. I love profit first systems. So we can talk about that, all of your operational systems and automations to help you save time, energy, and money, right? That's what a good system does. So I love talking about those kind of things too and helping you be more efficient so that you can have more time to go and play and be a joyful person in the world. So in the show notes below, we're going to have links to our calendars so that you can hop on a calendar with the discovery call with either one of us. And feel free to give us some feedback about your thoughts on which episode was your favorite of the Joyful Solopreneur, and book a call with either one of us if we can help you in any way. We're always delighted to do that.
Yeah, because it ties right into our joyful challenge for this episode is all about what is it, moving forward? What is your goal? What are the different ways in which you'll measure? How do you know that you're reaching that goal? Even if that's a personal goal, is to become more of a thought leader or a sought after speaker. Like, what are your targets at the end of this year? If it was the best year ever, what would be happening in your business? So write those down, and then what do you need to help you take the steps on a continual basis to get there? So that's our invitation for you. We've got the two of us are great resources for you to have that support, to have someone in your court championing you every step of the way, and to help you to expand your awareness and knowledge about business so that you can focus on your zone of genius and grow your business at the same time.
Yes, yes. So to wrap it all up, we just want to say again, thank you for joining us on this journey. Thank you, Kathy, for being my podcast host and for jumping in and helping us create this together. It's been really fun. We hope that you found inspiration and valuable insights in each episode. And now we'd love to hear back from you. So there will be a link or a QR code, depending on how you're viewing this or listening to this, in the show notes. We'd love to have you fill that out and give us some feedback on your thoughts, questions, or suggestions about the first 9 episodes. Are you excited for another season? Do you want us to do another round of the Joyful Solopreneur pop-up podcast? What topics would you like us to dive into? Your input will help us make the decision whether we're going to do this, if it brings us more joy, or if we're done and we move on to the next thing that is bringing us joy. So again, thank you for listening. Stay joyful. And again, thank you, Kathy, for being my partner in this and making this happen.
Yeah, go forth.
Yay. Okay, we'll wrap up with our music.